Every one of us is being called to step up for the entire rest of our human family. The energy from the mainstream is gripping like a black magnetic hole. Just so many are going to be throttled and overwhelmed. It is going to be extremely disorienting. I welcome the Syrian Council, the Arcturian Council of Joy, and thank you to the Pleiadian sisters for being present as well. How to not fall into these energies of darkness. It was during our own shift in consciousness that we first experienced what you are experiencing. We did not come into a state of unity. Our consciousness fell into a state of darkness. We have been working since that time to overcome this experience. We are beside you now. Allow us to support you, to see what we could not see. Oneness. Hello, my name is Eluña. I am an Akashic channeler and a psycho-spiritual healer and teacher. I am very curious about what is going on with 3i Atlas. I have looked into the energy of this consciousness a couple of times now, and a lot has already come through, particularly about the history of these previous comets that came before 3i Atlas, which is why it is called 3i. And I wanted to know more about how we are going to be experiencing this month in November, and also what we can expect just going forward, if there is more of a time frame of how we can better understand and also prepare and align ourselves to this energy. I'm just curious if there's more to say about that. So I don't really know who all is going to speak with me. Before I really came on and I was just tuning in, the one group that did come forward very strongly are a group of Pleiadian priestesses that have worked with me throughout my entire life since I was a child. They've been with me, and they are part of a previous or parallel lifetime that I have had prior to this one, or again, in conjunction with this one, since it's actually happening at the same time. And they came forward and shared that they would like to share how this consciousness is affecting them and the Pleiades, which is very curious to me. I don't know what that might be about, but that's the only group that came forward so far to share that they would certainly like to say something. So I don't know what to expect, but I'm just going to tune in and see who and what will be shared around this incoming consciousness. So who would like to share first about this? The Syrian Council? Okay. The Syrian Council is coming forward. They are, if you are unfamiliar, they are a group of beings who have been working with and alongside humanity's evolution for too long to even say, since before recorded history. And so they are coming forward right now. And sharing that they would like to express how a similar experience of this type of consciousness also is part of their history. So, okay, please go ahead. They're saying that part of their evolution came in a similar way with an incoming consciousness affecting their entire group. It was not quite so abrupt as it is for us. I guess that's kind of a theme for humanity. It tends to be a bit abrupt for us here. For them, it was not quite so abrupt. It was a little bit more of a smooth process that came with its challenges. They are saying there were certainly challenges that the entire community experienced. It just came in a different way, and those challenges came in a different way. So, okay. I'm asking why they are sharing this with us, and they are saying that they are sharing it because they want us to know that they understand what this experience is like. They themselves have gone through it, and it is not foreign to them. So they are holding us in a lot of compassion, and also holding a lot of energy for us during this time, because there is such a significant amount of changes that are going to take place from this, initially on an internal sort of level. These changes are going to be affecting every single individual human on the planet. And because each human, for the most part, is still isolated and their energy is very disconnected, it's going to be very disorienting for many, many people. And so they are holding energy for us, particularly if you are listening to this, you are more sensitive. And so you, even in an indirect way, you are going to be holding energy for others who are feeling extremely disoriented through this. Even if you yourself are feeling disoriented, they're saying. And so they are letting us know that they are holding us while we are holding others. So they are encouraging us to call on them, to really bring them forward and be very present with them as you feel called, to support you during this time, because your energy is actually going to be supporting a lot of other energies. They're saying this is the time when it's all hands on deck. Every one of us is being, oh, wow, I just got full body chills. Every one of us is being called to step up and to do and be what we can during this time for the entire rest of our human family. Because so many are going to be throttled and overwhelmed and overrun by this energy. It is going to be extremely disorienting. And it's not necessarily that you're going to witness that, which is actually good, because it would be very unpleasant to witness that. But you will witness it in some people who are not so stable. You will see it, and it will be very chaotic. For other people, it will be an internal chaos and a disorientation, which is what was brought up during the MYEU for November, the Master Your Energy update. If you've not seen that, I recommend that you watch that, because this is what they're referring to in that video, I'm realizing now. When they were talking about all of this incoming energy and what the collective was going to be experiencing, this feels similar to that. And now we understand why. So, we who are here and able to receive transmissions like this, it is our time to step up. It's our time to give our support and our help where we can. And that does not mean that you run yourself into the ground. It means that you know here and now, whether you are conscious of it or not, your energy is being used to lift other people up, to support other people. So take extra care this month to nourish your energy system and to really be aware of clearing yourself so that you're not holding on to anything. Be in touch with the Creator, the Source, the universe, with God, whatever you call it, the higher power, the highest power. Be in touch with that a lot this month. That is what they are saying. For the human experience, it is very important to be aware of that and to really be centering yourself around that and centering yourself around that within your own heart space so that you are feeling supported as well from within. The Syrian support that they're offering, it is going to feel a bit more like a friend offering you a hand or a hand on the shoulder, being with you if you're feeling energetically depleted. But the real sustenance that's going to give you more energy to keep going, that comes from the Creator, that center point right in your chest. So that is what they are encouraging during this time. And they are wanting to share that because of their own experience of having moved through this almost same thing during their own evolution long, long ago in our own history. Okay, thank you. Is there more that you'd like to say? Thank you. Okay. So the Arcturian Council is coming next. They always kind of, please excuse me, they always make me kind of giggle because their energy is very, very loving and just joyous. It's bubbly, and so sometimes it makes me laugh a little bit, so excuse me. So what would you like to tell us? What would you like to share? Okay, they're saying this is really a time of great upliftment. And whenever there is something being uplifted, there is always an adjustment period where that thing has to find its balance again and adjust to the new perspective that it has. That is what we, the more sensitive in the world, that is what we are going to be going through. And the rest of the collective, some of them are growing in their sensitivity, others are not quite there yet, but they are also still adjusting to a new way of being. The majority of them, though, they are going to feel like they're still on the ground, while we are going to feel a big sense of upliftment. Even with everything going on, we are still going to feel a big sense of upliftment if we are able to overcome the kind of denser aspects and denser energies that are pulling the rest of the collective down and that are the other side of this uplifting energy. So it's carrying both because it is a level of consciousness that goes beyond duality. And so there is the upliftment, the evolution, and part of that is that because it is holding all sides, all oppositions, all counterpoints, it's holding it all in one. You could experience a dualistic aspect where you go into a darker or denser period of time and experience with this incoming consciousness. So you have to consider how you're going to move through this, which is why I'm understanding the Syrians were saying very clearly, know that your energy is going to be used and don't overdo it. Be very aware that that's happening in the background, and so take extra care for yourself. It seems like that is what the Arcturians are also getting at here. They're saying yes, because if you overdo it, it's going to feel very easy to be very heavy and dense and have a difficult time lifting yourself back up again. It will just make it harder for you. If that happens, please do lift yourself back up again, even if it's hard, and call on the Syrians to support you, and also call on the Arcturian Council. They are offering their support as well. Please call on them to support you, and remember that center point of infinite connection to the absolute right here in your heart. Also touch in with that daily to support yourself. This is a time of upliftment, and anytime there's upliftment, because we are evolving beyond a dualistic nature, there is the other side that can be experienced within the duality of where we still are. So that's very helpful. I actually feel like there's maybe more to say about that. Is there maybe a practice? Is there something that you can offer around how to not fall into a dualistic way of thinking or experiencing? Is there something that you can offer there to be able to really move through this with the utmost integrity? Yeah. They said, I'm going to say it exactly like how they did. They said, we would say to keep your eye on the prize. And they directed toward the light of source is what they directed towards. Okay, keep your eye on the prize. So really it's about knowing. It's about knowing what your North Star is. It is about knowing that what we are moving toward is the wholeness, the love of the absolute is what we're moving toward. And because that's the choice that we made in this lifetime. that's what we would support and that's what we would be moving toward. And so they are saying to maintain your focus on that rather than get bogged down in the details of your mundane life, and rather than getting absorbed into any stories from the mainstream. Wow, that's a very strong energy. So I'm going to ask this question. During this time, will the mainstream, I'm just going to call it that to be appropriate on here, will the mainstream have a okay, they're saying yes. So the mainstream of everything, and I'm not actually going to say all of the mainstream agencies, but I'm just going to say that so that you can understand, are going to do everything they can to get your precious, sacred attention. Because your attention is your energy. And when you become emotionally invested in a story, then all of your life force feeds that story, reinforces that story, and allows whatever is happening in that story to come true and to grow stronger. I'm going to say that again. Your precious, sacred energy and attention, when you give it to a story, is what allows that story to come into this reality, to come true, and to grow stronger. So, if you are giving your precious, sacred energy and attention to a mainstream narrative that you do not want, you are supporting it to become a reality. That's what you are supporting. So, as a sovereign, free-willed being on this planet, you have the choice of where you place your energy and your attention, and you have the sovereign free will choice to determine what story you want to create for you and for everyone else. So this month in November, I can feel the energy from the mainstream. It is gripping. It is like a black magnetic hole, just pulling energy into it. It is really strong. It is very, very strong. And of course, that is the dualistic counterbalance to what this incoming consciousness is, of unity consciousness from 3i Atlas. Of course. And they said that we would experience the dualistic nature of this because that's what we're evolving beyond. And in order to evolve beyond it, we have to make the choice of where we are putting our energy and attention. That's what we have to decide this month. So, please do not hold the belief, which is something that you've just told yourself again and again, and it's something that has been told to you again and again. That's all that a belief is. It does not make it true. So, please do not hold the belief that in order to be a good person, a good citizen, that you need to be listening to and or watching mainstream sources of information. I'm going to say it like that. That's just a story that you've told yourself, and it's not true. It's not true. And I hear the protests of, but how are we supposed to know what's going on in the world? We should be doing this and that. Where are the stories telling you of all of the beauty that is happening in this world? Where are those stories? Where are the agencies in the mainstream who are telling you of all of the miracles that are happening every single day? Where are the stories talking about the places on our earth where she is regrowing and thriving again in a restored ecosystem? Where are those stories? They're very hard to find. So if you are spending your energy, the only thing that you have that is entirely yours is your energy in this lifetime. That's it. This body, not yours. It will return to the earth. Your energy comes from your consciousness. That's what you have in this lifetime that is entirely your own. And if you are using your sovereign consciousness to be placed and supporting and nurturing and fertilizing the stories that come from the mainstream about death, destruction, chaos, war mentality, then that's what we will see more of, because all of our attention is going into that. So, this is a really good month to just consider what your boundaries with all of that is, and to write a new story and create a new belief system for yourself about what it means to protect and honor your energy and the energy of our sacred Earth Mother and the energy of our human family by where you are placing your energy. Reconsider how you're doing that, how you are supporting our Earth, yourself, and our beautiful human family by considering where you're putting your attention. Because this month is very strong. I've never felt such a strong pull like that. I am very grateful that they just allowed me to see that. That is very strong. So, that's what I'm going to say about that. And my beloved priestess sisters are waiting patiently because they would also like to share about how they are being also impacted from this incoming consciousness. Okay, and how it relates to us as well. So their impact, and then how their impact also is affecting us. So that's very interesting. Let's hear from them. What would you like to tell me? It was during our own planet's upliftment. It was during our own shift in consciousness that we first experienced what you are experiencing. We did not come into a state of unity. Our consciousness succumbed. It fell into a state of duality, of despair, of darkness. We have been working since that time to overcome this experience, this choice that was made. We are beside you now, in support of humanity, in support of this incoming consciousness, this shift that will take place within the hearts and minds of all beings on this planet. Not only human beings, all of life will be impacted. There will be a restoration in the unification of what takes place beneath the soil, within the earth, between the trees, between the wind, the waves, and all life. There will be a surplus of understanding, of reconnection to what is, and to what has always been. Oneness. The state of knowing exactly who, what, and where you are, and how you are, is one. This understanding will come clearer and clearer into perspective this month. We invite you to sit with us in your dream time. Allow us to be with you, to lift you up, to see what we could not see when we had this opportunity in previous times. Allow us to support you if you move through your own darkness during this time. We are very adept at moving through these states of density, these energies of darkness. Call on us to uplift you. We are with you, brothers and sisters. We are with you. Thank you. My energy stays with me. Your energy stays with you. There was a lot of, I just am feeling a bit emotional from that last share from my priestess sisters. I'll have to listen again to receive what they said fully. So, thank you very much for joining me. I have been ever so curious about how this energy would be coming through and how we would be receiving this energy, and also how other energies on this planet, how they would be receiving this energy. And it is no surprise that there would be a significant pushback to this incoming consciousness. That's just to be expected, really. So I want to say one final piece to give a perspective on how to understand this time that we are moving through. And it's applicable not just for this month and this experience with this first layer of energy that is coming in from 3i Atlas. It's also applicable really in your own life with people on a very individual, personal level, and it's applicable throughout the rest of this journey that we have throughout time of this experience of evolution that our consciousness and our human family is going through. So, the way that I have come to understand and also feel a lot of peace, the first way that I began feeling a lot of peace around the truth that there are beings and energies on this planet that do not want the upliftment and arising of consciousness to take place. That is the truth. And it was difficult for me to come to terms with that and not feel a sense of fear, and also not feel a sense of hatred, essentially, for those beings. And so what I have come to understand just through contemplation and considering how can I think about this differently, because everything is a reflection, as above, so below, And I really relate things to the human body, to the experience that we have both internally and externally. And it's very helpful to understand for me that way. I have related it to the experience of a virus. So when we look back through evolution, evolutionary biology was one of my favorite studies that I did when I was still in university. And when we look back at that, we recognize that the greatest force of evolution throughout biological life as we know it comes from a virus. When viruses enter a biological ecosystem of any kind, whether that is a human body, whether that is a tree and there's a virus in the roots, whatever it might be, that living being has to confront the challenge of the virus and overcome it. So it has to adapt, learn what the virus is doing, strengthen itself, and overcome what it was before the virus came to be something more than it was previously so that the virus does not affect it anymore. Now, of course, I'm saying that in a very poetic way, in a non-biological way, so that it can be understood a little more easily. But that is what the experience of these energies and these beings on our planet are for us. They are like a virus that is actually the cause of our evolution. They are the catalyst of our evolution. When we look at it like that, we can just express gratitude. Thank you so much for coming and allowing me to recognize that I can step up and become something more. We learn and grow through challenge. That's what we do in this human life. I know that none of you have changed. I have not changed without being challenged. That's how we grow. That's how we learn that we can become something more. And without challenge, life is also very boring. It's very boring to just not be challenged because you stay the same. You just get by. It's not enjoyable. We are being challenged in the highest way from these beings that are moving in exact opposition to what we are evolving into. That is a blessing. It's a blessing. And the more that we can recognize and acknowledge that it is a blessing, that we can be grateful, at the very least, if we can be neutral, like how we feel about viruses, it does not have the same power, the same control over us, because no longer are our emotions tied up in it, particularly the emotions of fear, of hatred, whatever might come, of perceiving something as evil. Viruses are not evil. They're not evil. It is in their nature to infect a cell and force that cell to step up, evolve or die. That's what the impetus is. That's the MO. And here we are, getting a chance to step up, getting a chance to evolve beyond anything, beyond any time in history that humanity has ever known. We get to be part of this. Wow. What a perfect time to be alive. Just my parting message to support you. Thank you very much for joining me. I do hope to see you again very soon and to be with you in this unification process. I'm sure I will see you in the 5D. Please feel free also to call on me. My energy is readily available to support in the dream space or anytime in meditation. Anytime you call, I will be there. Very available for you. And please always. Remember your magic. Until next time.